Hello there, welcome to Naresh Technologies. We're going to discuss about AngularJS filters concept. Filters, okay. So by the word itself, it will say that it will filter, some unwanted data from a raw data, okay. So based on the type of the filter, we have something like server side filters and we have some client side also. Okay. So when it comes to server side filters, basically what it will do is we will pass some data through the filters. So if the data requires some kind of pre-process executions, something like data filtering or data manipulations, or some kind of data modifications which is provided by the end user, or data validations, something if you want to do, all those things we could able to perform inside these specific filters itself. Okay. So the filters will do a kind of job. So the filter will be something like this and your component is here. So whatever the request you are getting to your component, it should pass through the specific filter. Okay. The filter will do the some kind of initial process. So it will decrease or we can say it can able to share the burden of your components. Okay. So we could able to make some kind of pre-processing mechanism using the filters. Okay. Mostly we will use the filters to filter the data. Generally we will say, it will make change of, it will do some kind of processing, like assume that you are getting a kind of network related calls, and if you want to validate whether the specific network call is something like a trusted user or not, we could able to put some kind of validations, or we could able to make some kind of operations inside the filters. Okay. And at the same time, if you have some kind of pre-initialization requirements before processing a specific data, so the specific pre-initialization process, something like appending the tokens or decrypting the data, something like that, all these things we could able to perform inside the filters. Mostly something like, it's like an adapter mechanism we can say. So the adapters will will receive the data and it will do the necessary modifications, and it will furnish the specific data, then it will pass on the data to the desired component for request processing. Okay. But when it comes to AngularJS, it is also doing the similar thing only, but here using filters we could able to make temporary data view changes. Okay. That means using a filter we could able to change the state of a specific data temporarily while we are viewing the data in the view. Okay. So first let us see how we could able to use a filter on our in our Angular applications, then we will see what type of the filters we have and how we could able to make use of such kind of filters. Okay. So a filter we can able to use directly on a model underscore object by using a pipe symbol and providing a filter underscore name. There we go. Okay. But we have a different kinds of mechanisms for the filters. Mechanisms in the sense different types of filters we have. Okay. Each and every filter will do a respective job for our application. Okay. So what are the the filters we have in our applications? That let us see. Filter types. Okay. So let us make it as filter types. So the first filter is uppercase. Okay. So the uppercase will convert the state of the data from any case to uppercase. Lowercase. Lowercase again converts the state of the data any case to lowercase. Currency. We already know when we are dealing with amounts based on the local or the country type, we need to format the specific the specific number with respect to parentheses and comma separators. okay, and most of the times we need to prefix with currency symbol. Okay. So, to make I mean to format the specific amount and appending the currency symbol to the specific amount data, we could able to use currency. Okay. Then we have filter itself. Okay. So, assume that you have an array of objects data. So, sometimes I mean if the data of I mean you have very less number of objects inside the specific array, something like countable on fingers, then probably we do not require this. But if you assume that you have some hundreds of records, sometimes we need to scroll up and down to identify a specific row or something like that. I mean to identify the exact required object inside an array. I mean while we are showing inside the view, it will annoy us. I mean it will annoy us in the sense it will annoy the end user. Okay. So that to avoid such kind of weird situation, we could what we can do is we could provide a kind of filter mechanism, something like we already seen. So we will have what data list is there. For example, when we are using HTML, HTML5 to an input list, to an input element, we can able to provide a list data list, so that we can able to provide the options inside the data list. So based on end user requirements, the data list content is going to be populated as a suggestion list to the specific input. Okay. So in the similar way, I mean we could able to achieve such kind of mechanisms dynamically by passing a JSON object, okay, JSON object array, and we could able to iterate it and create a dynamic I mean overlay window, something like division we can say, and whenever end user is typing some content inside an input element, we could able to identify the contained I mean identify the objects which is contained inside the specific array, and pull out all those objects, create a separate array and push that particular array again to the overlay window, so that it can able to create a new I mean what we can say options available to the end user based on the contents which he entered inside the input text. Okay. So that's the earlier one. Okay. But we have now a lot of options to create that with respect to jQuery. Thanks for that. We in jQuery we have something like select and select to we could able to use those I mean plugins to create the specific drop down options only. Okay. Like the similar way here we can able to use the filter to filter a JSON array of objects and get the relevant objects based on a specific model object data. The model object we can able to bind to an input element, but the rest of the things like drop down and everything that we need to create ourselves, because filter is not used to show the data, filter is used to change the state of the data, that is it. Okay. Now, the next one is order by. So, again the same thing only, if array of objects is there, the order might be a little weird over there. So, if you want to make them in a specific order, we can make use of this specific order by. Okay. It can be ordered in increment or decrement, I mean ascending or descending order we can say. Then we have limit to. Okay. So, limit to is a kind of mechanism using that we could able to show some I mean specific records from a available array. Okay. So, assume that you have some 10 records, and if you want to show only 5 records from the specific array of objects, we could able to make use of the limit to, and we can control that one. Okay. So, these are some specific I mean most probably we are going to use this type of object I mean filters when we are showing up the data inside the view. Okay. Some more is also there, number, data and all, but these are the primarily most useful filters in our applications. Okay. So, let us make use I mean let us try to use this specific I mean filters, and we will see how we could able to make use of them. Okay. So, we will make use of the same thing only here. Okay. So, what I am doing is I will just convert the specific data into table, so that the view can be in a beta shape, table line. center border equals to 1 table row. Okay, let us cut up here and put it over there, so that okay. So like the similar way, just we could able to put other objects data also. Last name, did some mistake here, just close the specific row here, otherwise everything will fall in it. Same thing only. Let's copy this. Roll number, then full name, and is a function type. So let me remove all this things here, delete. Okay. So the same, I mean, we used a JSON object called student, and in that we just provided first name, last name, roll number as a function. Okay, and we binded the specific data using expressions inside our view. Okay, and if you want to add a caption, that also we can do. Let's go back to the browser, load the application. There we go. So, and this bottom data binding, whatever we just provided, this input element is not required. Let me remove that one. There we go. That's it. So, using expressions, this is the last example which we've seen when we are discussing about the expressions, the same example only. Okay, but we used here a kind of table to align the data. That's it, nothing more we did. Now let us use the filters and change the state of the specific data. Okay, so obviously here here you can see the Naresh or student. We have the specific data in combination of the cases. The N is capital or uppercase, and the rest of the characters are in lowercase. Similar with those in student, S is uppercase and the rest of the characters are in lowercase. So there we can make use of the filters. Okay, as usual, I said a filter can be used on a specific model object. Okay, I didn't said either expression or directive. I said we can able to use a filter on a specific model object. A model object can be binded using a directive, or a model object can be binded using expression. There we go. So here inside a expression, I am just on a model object called a student dot first name. I am just providing a pipe symbol and providing a filter called uppercase. Okay. So, irrespective of the cases, I said the uppercase filter will turn up this specific data, change the state of the data into uppercase. Okay. Boom. In a similar way, we could able to make use of the lowercase also. Okay. I am using on last name lowercase. Okay, irrespective of whatever the case, here the student I just used on the last name, the student is a combination of cases. I mean, S is in uppercase and the rest of the characters are in lowercase. Irrespective of whatever the case it contains, still it will convert the entire data into the lowercase only. But you can find there, I said the state change is temporary only. How I can say? You can see there this Naresh student of the full name, we got this one by concatenating in first name and last name only, where the first name now when we are viewing in the view with using a filter, it is converting the data and shown in uppercase, but still here when it comes to the full name, still the data is in combination of cases only. So, this is a kind of when it is binding, I mean when we are using a filter on a specific model object, what happens? First the binding will happen, then it will pass on the information to the filter. Filter will do the respective changes and it will return the specific data to the view. Okay. So, the model object data will not get permanently changes. I mean the model object state will not get changes permanently. Okay. It is a temporary. So, the binding will happen, then it will pass on the data to the filter, then filter will do respective changes and it will pass, I mean push back the specific changes to the view. That is it. There we go. Now, the next filter is currency. Okay. So, to demonstrate currency, let us add two more properties to our student JSON object. Okay. Something like quantity, made as 17, and amount, something like 147.56. Okay. So I'll just provide it for something like quantity and amount. Okay. So assume that using these two things, we could able to make some kind of math operation like main multiplication, and we can bind the specific data inside the view. Let us see. So let me create the TR. Okay, put a label something like fees, assume PD, put a expression. So student dot qty, as I said, directly we can able to perform the arithmetic operations inside the expression. So I am doing the same thing, mean multiplication of quantity, then amount close to. Okay. So here you can see this is the amount which we are going to show up this one, and we are getting the specific decimal as 0.52. Okay, it's because of that we have some kind of odd numbers here, so we are getting that one. So if you make it as something like okay, let me make it as something like 50 and put it as 16. So what happens here, it will put a direct thing something like 2360, and we can't able to make it, everybody will think it is like a number. They can't able to make it, they can't able to see the specific thing as an amount. They can't able to, some people might get confused over there. To avoid that thing, what we will do is we will try to convert the specific number into amount format, something like, as I said, no, decimal and precisions and comma separators based on the local, and we will try to put a kind of like currency symbol. Okay. So if we do something like that, so that we can give a proper impact, like the specific data is representing as an amount. Okay. For that, what we can do is we can make use of a filter called currency. Okay. So let me make use of that one. Filter we can able to provide using a pipe symbol and provide currency. So as usual, the default currency we will trade in the market is dollars. Okay. So by defaultly it is going to be append a dollar sign to our formatted amount. Okay, like this. But if you want to append your customized currency symbol, okay, something like even though our international trading will happen in the dollars, but when it comes to local, we need to trade with respect to that local currency. In that particular cases, the dollar will not help out in all our application developments. So we might need to put some kind of our customized what we can say like currency symbol over there. For that, what we can do is we can pass a kind of symbol for that. Okay, after currency. Okay, let me make it ampersand hash 3887, and remember exactly what is the currency symbol is not it's working like that, but it's ampersand only, but I didn't remember the exact thing. Let me check the currency symbol for dollar hash 377, just provided 377. Okay. We just messed up another thing. Okay, let us put it here. Come back here, load the application. Now you can see in place of the specific dollar, now we have the rupee symbol over there. Okay. So rupee is, as we know, this is represents our Indian currency symbol. Okay, INR. So we could able to pass on the specific currency symbol like this as a data to the currency. Okay. So if you want to make it something like dynamic, that also we could able to do, replace this one with the model object, and based on the specific local like a country or something like that, we could able to dynamically bind dynamically append the specific currency symbol alt code and we could able to show the specific data in the view like this. Okay, there we go. Now let us get me something like state codes. Okay, here we have a list of all countries and their codes. Let me copy this. Oh, so many is there. Copy this. Okay, so let me put back into our JSON object called otherwise you can able to make a new JSON, something like $scope dot states assume, okay, and put the specific data over there. You can get the specific data somewhere from the web. Okay, all the state codes and their names. Okay, sorry, country codes and their names. Okay, there we go. So we have a array of countries here. So so let us see how we can able to bind them into the view. Okay. So, I am statically making the binding. So, I am not using any kind of dynamic view patterns or something like that. So, what we will do is tr make it as something like call span equals to 2, give something like tr here, just made a mistake here, it should be after tr it should come as th. There we go. Now, we could able to I want to show all the countries names along with their state codes in my view. So, that what I can do is tr, okay, tr first put name of the country, okay, then put tr name th, then again th put code assume like this. Okay. So, if you want to do something like this, what we need to do is, I do not know how many objects is available inside the specific country array. Okay. So, statically if you want to make get the individual objects from the JSON object JSON array using an index, you can able to bind them, but that is a kind of a weird kind of practice. Okay. So, what we can do is, rather than that, we have a directive called ng-repeat. Okay. Using this directive, we could able to pass on the specific JSON array object into this and get one by one object from the JSON array and display those specific data inside in place of this particular th inside the specific columns. Okay. So, the data is let me get the data here. The name I just given as, I think, I hope, countries. Yeah. Okay. So, come back to our, so I am just passing the specific countries here. To look into the objects which is available inside the countries, what I can do is create a temporary model object, country in countries. Okay. So, what it will happen, this specific ng-repeat, what it will do is, it will create a kind of for loop operation internally. It will get all the objects from the countries JSON array, put one by one object to the country. So, now using this country, we can able to bind the specific model, the specific JSON object data name and code here. Okay. So, let us see how we can able to do that. Put a expression, so you want country dot name. Okay. The second one is code. There we go. So, we can able to make use of country dot code. Okay. Okay, instead of this, just make it as this only. Okay. Now, come back to our example. If you load, you can see all the countries with their codes is displaying in our view. Okay. It is a very lengthy list. Okay. But the point is like if I want to identify a specific country out of that, it's a little difficult for me. So what I can do is I could provide a filter option to identify a specific country from this from this particular list of array. Okay. So how we can do that? So just come back here in between of our what we can do is just provide sign that. Otherwise, we can use directly th calls span equals to 2 and provide an input element type equals to text and provide a model object nj-model here. Okay. So, here what my intention is, I just provided a kind of input element. Okay. Here you could able to provide a kind of such text in that. Okay. So, let me provide some kind of placeholder over there. So, filter text. Okay. So, when I am entering some text over here, based on the specific text, this particular array need to be filtered, and the contents which are contained by individual objects, it should be verified, and the contents which is contained by the objects, the relevant objects need to be shown in my view. For that, to our countries, we could able to make use of a filter name called filter itself. Okay. To the specific filter, I said dynamically we can able to do that. So, statically if I assume that I just want to get some data related to which contains DH. Okay. I do not know which specific countries contains DH, let me reload. So, obviously nothing is there which contains DH. Okay. Just put some a different one RE. All these countries are the codes contains RE, you can see. Okay. So, many objects we have, and if you want to get which contains, okay, just put a escape character before that, which contains IT assume, remove this escape character before. Okay. All these objects are showing up in the view which contains IT. Now, each and every time we can't able to go to our code and make the specific static changes. No. So, what we can do is in place of the specific static text whatever we provided, a static value whatever we provided, in place of that we can able to provide the model object reference of our input element. So, the whenever you are entering the text, obviously your array can be filtered dynamically. So, provide the specific such text. Clear? Now, reload the application. All the countries are visible here. Just enter some country name, Colombia. There we go. Okay. India. Okay. China. Clear? So, I mean the text which we entered, based on the specific text, it is going to be filter your array of objects and going to be shown up those same objects over there. Okay. And you can see the text which we are showing up here, or the countries we are showing up here, they are not in a specific order. Okay. So, they are, I mean here the order we could able to make based on your, we have two values of a specific object name and code. So, based on which specific thing if you want to order, based on that you could able to order them. For that, okay. So, for a specific I mean model object, we used all the places, we use just only one specific filter, but if you want to use more than one specific filter, that is also possible. Okay. Now, I just want to order by. Okay. So, based on specific which specific thing we have name and code. So, which specific column you want to order it, let me make it as name. Okay. So, the data is going to be ordered based on name. So, you can see here the second code of our list is like land islands. Okay. Now, it is ordered everything. Now, the land islands is going to be, I mean somewhere you can able to find at the beneath. Okay. So, in that now, but you can see here these characters are not exactly I mean ordered over here, but if you want to order based on your country code, that also you can do. Instead of name, what we need to do is here need to provide code. Based on code, now everything is aligned, I mean ordered. Okay. My requirement is, we just seen that the ordering is happening ascending only, but if I want to do the ordering in I mean descending. Okay. So, what we can do is, let me put back the name over here, the code also you can do, there is no problem, put a minus symbol before that. Okay. It will put the order in reverse direction. So, it is going to be ordered in descending order. Like so. Okay. So, in this way we could able to make use of the specific filter. Okay. The limit 2 is also there. If you want to use the limit 2 also, we can able to make use of that one. Let me, okay, I am just removing this one, order limit 2, and how many objects you want to show up. I mean something like a pagination we can say is just, if you assume that if you put 5, it will show up only 5 elements or 5 objects. Okay. You could able to create the pagination also using this particular limit 2. There is no I mean you do not have any kind of issues with that, but you need to do some kind of dynamic operations over there. I mean put the count and number of pages you require, you need all those things, and we can able to create the pagination. Okay. In this way we could able to make use of the filters in AngularJS. Thank you.